Episode 56, WS August 10, 2024. UK wood burning at riots. UK Biomass station 4 times coal emissions. RAWSEP reacts so you do not have to? No, the object of these videos is to present the facts so that you can react to the facts and stop burning wood. One fact is that wood burning emits 2.8 times the PM 2.5 as the fossil fuel coal burning. Wood burning emits 450 times the PM 2.5 as the fossil fuel natural gas burning. Wood burning emits 90% PM 2.5 particulate matter of 2.5 micrometer size, the perfect size to infiltrate the human lung, setting off a cascade of human health problems and early deaths. Once current wood burners have these facts, the wood burners who were previously misinformed and have a desire to help their fellow man will stop wood burning immediately. Those who continue to burn after being informed may wish to harm their fellow man. Wood burners given center stages in the episode are from the United Kingdom. The first given center stage are owners of wood burning power plants, and the second given center stage are far-right rioters setting wood burning fires to terrorize their fellow men, perhaps in reaction to the far-right being defeated in the polls in July. The motivation to burn wood in industrial plants is money. When wood burning is known by the industry owners that the PM 2.5 pollution will be 4 times higher than coal burning, according to the Guardian article in this episode. The motivation of rioters to burn wood in the streets of the United Kingdom is to add to the misery index of their many fellow men, who perhaps were the ones who defeated the far right at the polls in July. Counter-protesters have recently faced the wood-burning rioters in their own streets and outnumbered the wood burners and cowed them. In episode 56, WS1 World. Are industrial wood pellets renewable green energy? Don't believe it for a second. 2 United States. RAWSEP View the things we do for money. Advertising age the age of pro-pollution. From the article headline. Why wood is making a heated comeback. 3 California. RAWSEP View. Advice. Use a heat pump to heat your house if for some reason you need to heat your house during the California heat wave. Do not burn more wood and pollute more air after a wildfire has just burned down your house. U.S. Forest Service offering firewood leftover from bench lake containment efforts. 3B California. RAWSEP View RAWSEP is obligated to react to this article touting wood burning during the height of wildfires in California as irresponsible and harmful to the fellow humans in the path of this wood smoke pollution. How much wood would a retired couple cut? Santa Clarita Valley Signal. 3C California San Luis Obispo. RAWSEP View the logistics of heating food on a fire pit are momentous and staggeringly full of obstacles to completing that simple task. If you need to heat food outdoors, a portable propane stove, solar stove, etc. will heat your food in a way that does not produce as many air-polluting PM 2.5 particulates as a wood-burning stove or a wood-burning fire pit. From the article headline. Propane fire pits allowed at some beaches for a limited time. For Colorado. Family's cabin reduced to ashes after Alexander Mountain fire. 5 Hawaii. No cause determined 1 year after Hawaii fire that killed 102 people. 6 Kentucky. RAWSEP View Gray news indeed when unnecessary wood burning leads to death. Man electrocuted while using homemade wood burning tool. 7 Maine. Fire destroys building at Katahdin Forest Products Mill in Oakfield, Maine. Forest Economic Advisors. 8 Mississippi. 2 woods fire are burning in Jackson County, authorities say. 30 homes in danger, Biloxi. 9 New York. Study quantifies air pollution for NYC subway commuters. Eureka alert. Fine particulate matter PM 2.5 is a type of air pollution that due to its small size when inhaled by a person can enter the bloodstream. 10A Oregon. RAWSEP View fire scars the landscape just as wood burning fire scars human lungs. From the article Diamond Complex, August 8 Umpqua National Forest. 11 Utah. Smoke from western fires will impact Utah air quality. 12A Canada Montreal and Toronto. Study suggests ultrafine particles linked to 1,100 deaths per year in Montreal and Toronto. 13 New Zealand. Southland towns record poor winter air. RAWSEP View this advice on how to burn wood so that it pollutes less is useless. Just do not burn wood to begin with. Use heat pumps that work down to 40 degrees below zero in 2024 during this New Zealand winter. 14A United Kingdom. Biomass power station produced 4 times emissions of UK coal plant says report The Guardian. 14B United Kingdom Hull and Middlesbrough, etc. The New York Times. Britain's violent riots. What we know, officials had braced for more unrest on Wednesday, but the night's anti-immigration protests were smaller with counter-protesters dominating the streets instead. A handful of protesters, too, in masks, face a group of riot police officers with shields. In the background are a crowd with a fire and smoke in the air. 15 Africa and South Asia. Timber plantations are one of the best tools to fight climate change. RAWSEP View if wood is grown to create timber for building homes and furniture instead of wood for burning, that could be a first step to slowing climate change. 16 Bhutan. Industrial smoke sparks public health concerns. 17 China, 18 India, 19 Pakistan, 20 Thailand, 21 PM 2.5 in human health. Main content. 1 World. Are industrial wood pellets renewable green energy? Don't believe it for a second. Earth Justice wood pellet production is a false solution to the climate crisis. Burning industrial wood pellets releases more greenhouse gases than burning coal. 2 United States. RAWSEP View the things we do for money. Advertising age the age of pro-pollution. From the article headline. Why wood is making a heated comeback. HVP magazine particulate emissions. Pellets can achieve more controlled and complete combustion easier than most log burning appliances due to their smaller, part or full home heating with wood or pellet burning provides homes with a degree of fuel independence. 3A California. RAWSEP View. Advice. Use a heat pump to heat your house if for some reason you need to heat your house during the California heat wave. Do not burn more wood and pollute more air after a wildfire has just burned down your house. U.S. Forest Service offering firewood leftover from bench lake containment efforts. CAMVD the U.S. Forest 3B California. RAWSEP View RAWSEP is obligated to react to this article touting wood burning during the height of wildfires in California as irresponsible and harmful to the fellow humans in the path of this wood smoke pollution. How much wood would a retired couple cut? Santa Clarita Valley Signal. He said he actually enjoys the wood splitting machine. He enjoys burning firewood in his own fireplace at 3C California San Luis Obispo. RAWSEP View the logistics of heating food on a fire pit are momentous and staggeringly full of obstacles to completing that simple task. If you need to heat food outdoors, a portable propane stove, solar stove, etc. will heat your food in a way that does not produce as many air-polluting PM 2.5 particulates as a wood-burning stove or a wood-burning fire pit. From the article headline. Propane fire pits allowed at some beaches for a limited time. KSBY. The staff time it took to clean up after the fire pits were used. Back then it was wood-burning fire pits that were allowed. People wood 3D California. Wood fire started August 7th Fresno be fire name wood. A new wildfire was reported today at 4:16 p.m. in Fresno County, California. Wood fire has been burning on private land. At this 3E California deer fire started August 7th. Merced Sunstar deer fire has been burning on federal land managed by the United States Forest Service. Wood fire deer fire started August 7th. San Luis Obispo Tribune deer fire has been burning on federal land managed by the United States Forest Service. Wood fire started August 7th. 3F California. Wildfire in Los Angeles County started August 7th. Merced Sunstar the wildfire has been burning on private land. At this time the wood fire 3G California. Pollution levels increased in valleys. North End News 4 PressOnline.com. Imperial Valley Press PM 2.5 levels were considered as unhealthy for sensitive groups in Brawley. The U.S. EPA cautions that people with heart of lung disease older for Colorado. Family's cabin reduced to ashes after Alexander Mountain fire. 9 News among the 26 homes destroyed and 4 others damaged was an old cabin built in the 1970s owned by Emerson Woods family. I mean, how would you feel? 5 Hawaii. No cause determined 1 year after Hawaii fire that killed 102 people. The Flag AM 1100 National News wildfire burning wooden pallets. Pixabay WDAY radio today marks a year since the Lahaina 6 Kentucky. RAWSEP View Gray News indeed when unnecessary wood burning leads to death. Man electrocuted while using homemade wood burning tool. KKCO WKYT Gray News a man electrocuted while using homemade wood burning tool. KNOE Harlan County, Kentucky WKYT Gray News a man in Kentucky was electrocuted Tuesday night while using a homemade wood burning tool. Man electrocuted while using homemade wood burning tool. WLOX WKYT Gray News 8 Kentucky man dies after being electrocuted. WKYT a man is dead after man dies from injuries after accidental electrocution from homemade device. Yahoo. From all indications the subject was using a homemade wood burning instrument when he come into contact with electrical current that caused him to go. Harlan County man dies by accidental electrocution. WIMT the Harlan County 7 Maine. Fire destroys building at Katahdin Forest Products Mill in Oakfield, Maine. Forest Economic Advisors Scott said the more you dig into sawdust the more it keeps burning, and containing it is a slow process at best. FEA compiles the Wood Markets News 8 Mississippi. 2 woods fire are burning in Jackson County. Authorities say 30 homes in danger. Biloxi Sun Herald. A woods fire in Jackson County is burning on Thursday afternoon near Ocean Springs, St. Martin on Old Fort Bayou Road, South Mississippi. Sheriff says. 9 New York. Study quantifies air pollution for NYC subway commuters. Eureka alert. Fine particulate matter PM 2.5 is a type of air pollution that due to its small size when inhaled by a person can enter the bloodstream. PM 2.5 map reveals most polluted NYC subway stations. Hazardous Newsweek A map shows the PM 2.5 air pollution levels in micrograms per cubic meter on the platforms of the New York City subway network. Click on Study quantifies air pollution for NYC subway commuters. Disparities found. Phys.org. Fine particulate matter PM 2.5 is a type of air pollution that due to its small size when inhaled by a person can enter the bloodstream. PM 2.5 New York air pollution in NYC subway disproportionately impacts lower-income commuters. Study says CBS News. Particulate matter or PM 2.5. They say when you inhale it goes into your lungs and possibly even the bloodstream and can cause short and NYC subway riders ingest exceptionally high amounts of air pollution. Everyday Architectural Digest PM 2.5 particles are so small they stay suspended in the air longer and easily get into the bloodstream when you breathe them in. This kind of air New York City subway's air quality is toxic for commuters. Black Enterprise. According to the New York State Department of Health, PM 2.5 is particle pollution from fine particulates. Breathing in unhealthy levels of PM 2.5 can 10A Oregon. RAWSEP View fire scars the landscape just as wood burning fire scars human lungs. From the article Diamond Complex, August 8 Umpqua National Forest. The fire is burning in the Old National Fire Burn Scar. Wood fire 2 miles south of Highway 139, 23 acres, 25%, contained Canal 10B, Oregon. What caused the mile marker 132 fire in Bend? CentraleRegondaily.com with debris under the grate. So that's where the fire was able to escape, Riley said. That's why wood-burning fires outside are prohibited right now. The person who started the fire has not been identified. 10C Oregon Medford. Wildfires will last until rain arrives, Forest Service says. FirewatchKDRV.com. KDRV. Avoid using wood-burning stoves and other sources of indoor smoke if possible. Fire. Furthermore, the USFS said that the steep remote 11 Utah smoke from western fires will impact Utah air quality. KSL News Radio. That'll bring an increase in the PM 2.5 particulate, Seaman said. Unlike the winter inversion that commonly settles in the Utah air, there will be 12A Canada, Montreal, and Toronto. Study suggests ultrafine particles linked to 1,100 deaths per year in Montreal and Toronto. CBC wood burning. Right now we have no regulations at all and UFBs are not really considered in terms of managing air quality. Weichenthal said pollution levels on mortality from 2001 to 2016. 446. A study by particles like fine particulate matter such as soot from wood burning. 12B Canada, British Columbia, Vancouver. Fire erupts at construction site on Vancouver's west side. CBC News. Flames and smoke could be seen rising from a construction. The blaze engulfed a 6-story wood frame building that was under construction. Fire rips through 6-story development under construction in Vancouver, causing crane collapse. Vancouver Sun. Wood is fuel for the fire, he said. A large fire is burning at a development at West 41st Avenue and Collingwood Street and burning embers from a Vancouver fire battles flames as crane collapses. City News. Vancouver wood frame building that was under construction fully involved in the fire. When we arrived, crews immediately tried to mitigate that fire home. And he enjoys providing wood to others. 13 New Zealand. Southland towns record poor winter air. RAWSEP View. This advice on how to burn wood so that it pollutes less is useless. Just do not burn wood to begin with. Use heat pumps that work down to 40 degrees below zero in 2024 during this New Zealand winter. RNZ News. Talbot said to reduce particulate matter wood should be kept burning hot and bright, and only dry wood should be used in a clean flue and burner. Gore air quality dips to 4-year low after smoky day. The Southland app smoke impact and get the most value for your wood was to keep fires burning hot and bright. Burn dry wood. Don't bank your fire overnight and make 14A. United Kingdom. Biomass power station produced 4 times emissions of UK coal plant, says report The Guardian. Frankie Mayo, an analyst at Ember, said, burning wood pellets can be as bad for the environment as coal. Supporting biomass with subsidies is a 14B United Kingdom, Hull and Middlesbrough, etc. The New York Times. Britain's violent riots. What we know, officials had braced for more unrest on Wednesday, but the night's anti-immigration protests were smaller, with counter-protesters dominating the streets instead. A handful of protesters, too, in masks, face a group of riot police officers with shields. In the background are a crowd with a fire and smoke in the air. Anti-immigration protesters clashed with police officers in Rotherham, England on Sunday, August 7, 2024. Excerpts edited by RAWSEP for brevity and clarity in relationship to Residents Against Wood Smoke Emission Particulates, a 501c3 nonprofit organization. After days of violent rioting set off by disinformation around a deadly stabbing rampage, the authorities in Britain had been bracing for more unrest on Wednesday. But by nightfall, large-scale anti-immigration demonstrations had not materialized and only a few arrests had been made nationwide. Instead, streets in cities across the country were filled with thousands of anti-racism protesters, including in Liverpool, where by late evening the counter-demonstration had taken on an almost celebratory tone. Over the weekend, the anti-immigration protests organized by far-right groups had devolved into violence in more than a dozen towns and cities. And with messages on social media calling for wider protests and counter-protests, on Wednesday the British authorities were on high alert. With tensions running high, Prime Minister Keir Starmer's cabinet held emergency meetings to discuss what has become the first crisis of his recently elected government. Some 6,000 specialist public order police officers were mobilized nationwide to respond to any disorder, and the authorities in several cities and towns stepped up patrols. In one of many riots across Britain's CMAP, in Middlesbrough, a group of rioters, some masked, hurled bottles and rocks at officers. Cars were set on fire, and at least 9 people were arrested. On Saturday, a library and a food bank were set ablaze in Liverpool as groups damaged and looted businesses, and in Hull, fires were set and storefronts smashed in the city centre. How have the authorities responded? The weekend riots prompted a heavy police response. Nearly 4,000 additional officers were deployed, a law enforcement association said, and a government order gave officers in some places special powers to disperse any gatherings or antisocial behavior, the police said in a statement. More than 400 people have been arrested, and about 100 have been charged, Mr. Starmer said after an emergency cabinet meeting on Tuesday, the second in 2 days. The Prime Minister, who has characterized the riots as far-right thuggery, encouraged prosecutors to name and shame those convicted to dissuade others from joining the violent rampages. I'm now expecting substantive sentencing before the end of the week, Mr. Starmer said. That should send a very powerful message to anybody involved, either directly or online, that you are likely to be dealt with within a week, and that nobody should involve themselves in this disorder. B.J. Harrington, the head of public order for Britain's National Police Chiefs Council, said that online disinformation had been a huge driver of this appalling violence. Intelligence teams, detectives, and neighborhood officers, Mr. Harrington said, were working to identify the people fomenting the violence. They won't win, he said. In his remarks on Tuesday, Mr. Starmer said that some arrests involved people accused of inciting violence online. The first person to be convicted over online posts since the riots, according to the Crown Prosecution Service, was a 28-year-old man from Leeds who posted messages on Facebook about attacking a hotel that housed asylum seekers. It said that the man, Jordan Parler, had pleaded guilty and been convicted of using threatening words or behavior to stir up racial hatred. Mr. Starmer has called out social media companies over misinformation on their platforms, but holding them accountable could be tricky. Britain adopted a law last year that requires social media companies to introduce protections for child safety and to prevent and quickly remove illegal content like terrorism propaganda and revenge pornography. The law is less clear about how companies must treat misinformation and incendiary language. What are the political implications? The riots are the first political crisis for Mr. Starmer, who took office a month ago after his Labour Party defeated the Conservatives, who had been in government for 14 years. While in power, the Conservatives tried to capitalize on public unhappiness over immigration, vowing to reduce it, though failing to do so. But in recent days, they joined Labour in condemning the violent protests. Former Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, now the opposition leader, said the unrest had nothing to do with the tragedy in Southport. The police, he said, have our full support to deal with these criminals swiftly. 14C United Kingdom. Herefordshire wood firm fire could take days to put out. BBC News. Fire broke out at storage buildings at Certainly Wood, Lower Lulham, Herefordshire during the early hours of Tuesday, and fire crews said it will flames and smoke leap into the sky behind a row of trees. 15 Africa and South Asia. Timber plantations are one of the best tools to fight climate change. RAWSEP View: if wood is grown to create timber for building homes and furniture instead of wood for burning, that could be a first step to slowing climate change. Bloomberg. Burning issue. More than half of the world's fuel wood is consumed in Africa and South Asia. Source: Food and Agriculture Organization 16 Bhutan. Industrial smoke sparks public health concerns. Queensland Online: over the last 3 months, particulate matter PM 2.5 levels at Pasaka Industrial Estate often exceeded the national standard of 60 micrograms. 17 China. Substantial contribution of transported emissions to organic aerosol in Beijing. Nature: a large fraction of fine particulate matter that is smaller than 2.5 mpm 2.5 is associated with atmospherically formed secondary inorganic SIA 18A. India. CAQM issues advisory to curb open-air burning in Delhi NCR in light of the forthcoming PIB PM 2.5 PM 10 levels in the ambient air besides other harmful gaseous pollutants, and thus results in imposition of preventive restrictive actions. 18B India. Delhi suffers from high levels of ground-level ozone, finds study Hindustan Times. This makes it a highly volatile gas that has 1 hour and 8-hour standards as compared to PM particulate matter 2.5, which has a 24-hour. 19 Pakistan. Climate conditions: the nation. A recent report revealed that Pakistan has been named the second most polluted country in the world with an average PM 2.5 concentration of 73.720. Thailand. Who is Nathafong Ruangpanyawat, the leader of the People's Party? Kayasad. English: PM 2.5 sensors, or AI for tax collection. He believes that in this way we can transform local governments in Thailand, in the central government. 21A PM 2.5 and asthma. Asthma and air pollution: less exposure in childhood lowers asthma risk. Pulmonology advisor: pollutants measured included PM 2.5, as well as PM 10 black carbon BC and nitrogen oxides NOx. Local emission inventories 21 BPM 2.5 and climate change. Detecting climate change using aerosolsphys.org. Aerosols, such as particulate matter PM 2.5, not only affect public health, but also influence the Earth's climate by absorbing and scattering 21 CPM 2.5 and health disparities. Historical redlining associated with health disparities in children with asthma. Helio researchers collected data on school and home exposure to find particulate matter PM 2.5 and nitrogen dioxide NO2 from the air quality system by 21 dPM 2.5 and monitor. Avtech introduces new digital particulate and temperature sensor for enhanced indoor air. Newswired.com. Monitoring PM 2.5 in particular is crucial as these tiny particles can penetrate deep into the lungs, causing respiratory problems. By detecting